Cold killed faster than bullets on the Eastern Front. That's not exaggeration. In World War II, entire units froze, weapons failed, fuel turned to jelly, and men collapsed simply from exposure. Yet some soldiers discovered a quiet, almost invisible thermal trick that didn't require more wood, more fuel, or bigger fires. And once they used it, the heat inside their shelters didn't just improve, it multiplied. This is 0 Hour, World War II, and today we're pulling back the curtain on one of the smartest survival adaptations of the war. No myths, no Hollywood, just brutal cold, raw necessity, and a trick so effective it could triple usable heat. Let's get into it. On the Eastern Front, winter temperatures regularly dropped below -30°C, sometimes lower. A fire, even a strong one, was not a guarantee of warmth. Heat escaped faster than it could be generated. Wind stole it, frozen ground absorbed it. Thin shelter walls leaked it away like a cracked canteen. Soldiers learned very quickly that adding more fire was dangerous. Bigger flames meant smoke. Smoke meant visibility. Visibility meant artillery, snipers, and death. So the challenge wasn't how to burn more. It was how to keep what little heat you already had. That's where the real trick begins. Here's a hard truth. In extreme cold, the ground is your enemy. Frozen soil acts like a massive heat sink. If you sit on it, lie on it, or build directly on it, your body heat just drains away non-stop. Even with a fire, most of the warmth is lost downward. On the Eastern Front, soldiers noticed something critical. Men sleeping directly on the ground froze faster than men who were just slightly raised, even if both were near the same fire. That observation changed everything. They stopped fighting the cold with flame and started fighting it with separation. The hidden thermal trick was simple, but, deadly effective. They created layers between themselves and the cold, using whatever was available. Wood planks, logs, branches, straw, earth, snow, even discarded equipment. The goal wasn't insulation in the modern sense. The goal was dead air. Still air is honestly one of the best insulators known to man. When you trap air in layers, you slow heat transfer dramatically. Soldiers built raised sleeping platforms inside dugouts and shelters. Not high, just enough to break contact with the frozen ground. Then they added layers beneath and around those platforms. Wood, packed straw, even folded coats. Each layer trapped air, each layer slowed heat loss. The result was, shocking. The same small fire that barely took the edge off before now made shelters livable. Another part of the trick involved reflection. Heat radiates outward in all directions. In open shelters, most of it disappears into walls, ceilings, and the night air. Soldiers began lining interior walls with materials that bounced heat back inward. Packed earth mixed with wood. Snow walls reinforced with branches. Even metal scraps when available. The idea wasn't luxury. It was redirection. When heat couldn't escape easily, internal temperatures climbed fast. Not because more heat was created, but because less was wasted. This is how they tripled usable warmth. Same fire, same fuel. Completely different result. Snow often just gets dismissed as cold, but in World War II it actually became a kind of ally. Packed snow, believe it or not, is a surprisingly effective insulator. Snow shelters, if you built them right, could hold heat even better than many wooden structures. Out on the Eastern Front, soldiers learned to use snow as an outer shell, while keeping a dry, layered interior. The snow would block the wind, the inner layers would trap air, and, well, the fire did the rest. Temperatures inside these shelters could rise by tens of degrees above what was outside. Enough to dry your clothes, enough to sleep, enough to survive. Once heat loss was controlled, fire size could shrink. Smaller fires meant less smoke, less light, less risk. Soldiers often used low, slow-burning fires or trench stoves that barely showed from outside. Inside a properly layered shelter, even body heat from multiple men mattered. Breath, movement, shared warmth. All of it stayed inside instead of bleeding away into the frozen night. This wasn't comfort. This was survival engineering under pressure. Warmth did more than protect fingers and toes. It preserved morale. A warm soldier thinks clearer, moves better, fights longer. Cold breaks discipline. Warmth restores it. Units that mastered these thermal tricks suffered fewer cold injuries and maintained combat effectiveness deeper into winter. That mattered more than any piece of gear. This knowledge spread quietly, passed from unit to unit, learned the hard way, but once understood, it saved lives. This isn't just history. These principles still apply. Whether you're studying survival, military history, or human adaptation under extreme stress, the lesson is the same. Heat generation is only half the battle. Heat retention is where survival is won. Eastern Front soldiers didn't beat the cold with technology. They beat it with understanding. And that understanding tripled their heat. World War II wasn't just fought with tanks and rifles. It was fought against hunger, exhaustion and cold that wanted to kill you quietly. The hidden thermal tricks of the Eastern Front remind us that sometimes the smartest weapon is knowledge. If you learned something today, make sure you subscribe to 0 Hour World War II. Share this with someone who loves history beyond the surface. And stay with us, because there are more forgotten survival truths from the war that still deserve to be told.